I said I'll be part of the film, and I never know she had a mischief smile that she put me in this in the title. I just, if you're going to make a film on coral reefs, I would like to be a part of it. And when she came to when I came down to India, and when she thought of making this film, uh, she had everything perceived, conceived everything here, but I didn't know that she had this plan. But my painting exhibitions were Coral Reef Gardens, and I thought she'll name it that way. But she was the one who named it, and I don't know. I wish she had made it Coral Women. So then, because she did all the research, and there are many women out there who have done so much, and really I feel sometimes ashamed as to I don't live up to this name. So I wish she'd change a E in it, then it'll make it right. Perfect.
But I think it's clear in the film that you are an inspiration to your housekeeper, to the people at the school, and the way you talk to the experts and explore the issues. I think that you deserve that name.
And by making Uma by putting the title Coral Woman, I didn't intend to say that Uma is a superwoman, who is going to change everything. I don't think. I think the beauty of the film, or why I find her beautiful, is because of her simplicity, and it's a thing for everybody, right? Sometimes we think that it's a duty of the government or duty of any other person to take care of the environment. So we are all superheroes in ourselves. We don't have to be a scientist or a researcher to make a change. So change can happen anywhere, and I think that is why, for me, she is the Coral Woman.
Well, I think that you both did a good job of highlighting all the different kinds of people that are concerned, from the people that, fish in the sea, to the researchers. And the women who talked about the cancer in their neighborhood from the pollution. I thought that it was very inspiring how you showed all the different people that are affected by the pollution and by climate change. I was wondering if you could talk about how, if the people that are really concerned about the pollution that is causing cancer and deteriorating their environment, if they connect the dots to climate change, because I think in this country for a long time, it was more kind of the middle class people that really were concerned about this abstraction of climate change. I think that's changing worldwide now with the fires in the Amazon and Australia and the flooding and the droughts. But what is it like in India and South Asia?
I can speak about Tamil Nadu because since my film was based there, and I haven't traveled to Lakshadweep or Andaman or other parts where you can see corals, but from my contacts and my relationship with different divers across, I do know that there is a lot of work happening there, because tourism is also linked. So there is like a small level of awareness. Okay, we should try to protect, and there are divers who are really concerned. But when it comes to Tamil Nadu, though it is one of the major coral reefs areas in the mainland India, even people in Chennai is not aware of, oh, we have a coral reef coast. So that lack of awareness and information is definitely there about the corals on the mainland India, because it's not connected to tourism as such. But it's very interesting to know that one of the Asia's first marine Gulf of Mannar Marine National Park was made in even 1980s. So it is having such a long history, even to 15th, 16th century, when it was famous for pearls, and people came from Portuguese and Dutch. Everybody came to that coast because of the pearls and corals. So such a long history, but it's very less known in today's time. So because of that, there is very less attention given there. I'm not completely denying that there is no work happening. There are a few researchers who are doing, but I feel it's not enough, because when I went there, I saw a lot of companies and even sewage getting dumped out there. Let's take the example of Rameshwaram. It's a small island, So for people who don't know it, you saw that temple sequence in the film. It's shot in Rameswaram. It's a small island, and it's very famous for pilgrimage in India. It's one of the second most people, like where people travel for a temple visit. And look at what is happening there. There is like hotels mushroomed everywhere. It's more than an island can take. And definitely when more people are coming there, it's not prepared, and hotels are directly dumping everything into the sea. These are things which can be controlled, and this is actually where we felt that we have to do something, because we went through this journey. And that's why we even have Anupama in this panel, because she is part of our impact plans. So we are not ending the film just with the film. We want to take it forward, because we feel that there is a gap of lack of information and awareness that need to be created about Gulf of Mannar corals. The locals are aware about it, because they see the change. They see that there is less fish. They see that this is not the corals we had seen like in a decade before. Even especially the last two global bleaching had taken up a lot of corals out. Even when I'm thinking, these happened like last time when tsunami hit that coast, this area was saved. And scientists clearly say that it happened because of the coral reef islands had protected it. The area above and below these where the corals are found were affected by tsunami. And if something happens in the future, I really fear for that coast, because it's not just the impact of tsunami, but it will be beyond that, because there is a lot of industries out there very close to the ocean, like edge to the ocean. There are thermal plants, not one or two. There are almost 5 thermal plants. New ones are coming up. There are chemicals being made there. So we had seen it, like trucks and trucks are moving towards that coast, and we had seen it happening. So I really fear for that space that way also.
Yeah, I myself was in Tamil Nadu about 35 years ago, Mahabalipuram and Tirukalakundram and different places. And I didn't see any of this heavy industry, at least in the places that I went to. And so it was quite shocking to me to see those power plants and the chemical plants all around. And I thought that the way the film followed from the artwork of just the corals and the fish to the painting with the power plants and the pollution, the plastic pollution, something that our organization has worked on, was very moving. Uba, you said at one point in the film you didn't know if you were a good painter, but that you are a happy painter. But I wondered, after seeing all this pollution and learning more about what's happening to the Indian coral, when you're painting, does it still bring you the happiness, or is it tinged with regret about what's happening in terms of the environment and the coral?
Yeah, it did. Because I'm used to seeing beautiful corals in the Maldives. Even when you walk near the coast, you can just peep into the water and you can see beautiful corals, because the water was respected, the ocean was respected, and there was not any debris floating on it. So diving is heaven there. I haven't seen that's what. So and then after diving in India, Priya gave me a homework for all of the crew members, saying, whatever you have seen, you have to summarize the experience in your own terms. For the cinematographers, they have to write as to what they have seen. And for the sound person also, she had given a homework. For me, it was a homework to put down everything on the canvas as to whatever I have seen. And I have never ever painted a dull coral or a bleached or a dead coral. So when she said, I was very apprehensive, because I find happiness in even little things. I know people think I'm crazy, that kind of a person. So for once, just because Priya told me, I took this, and she was sitting behind me most of the time. I didn't notice. So I had to do this because she asked me to summarize as to what all I have seen. So it was very disturbing because I really want to, whenever my breast goes up, I really want to not to prevent myself from doing it. But we had to, because that is what we saw. It was pathetic. Uh, so all the plastics and the debris, and you could have seen people near the channel who are living here, people, the cancer patients, next to the channel. They were living next to an open canal, which is a sewage. So every day morning, the first thing they do is take out a carcass or a dead body out of that, and they start with the day. They don't even have a parapet wall near the canal. So having seen such disturbing sights, which I have not seen earlier, so I was really very, very disturbed. Very painful it is. Even it is the same.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't want to hog the conversation, so, and I've been seeing things in the chat, so let's open that up.
Thank you, Robin. That was a very informative conversation we had. So we have, just for the audience information, we have the filmmaker Priya Thuvaseri, we have the core woman herself, and we have the producer Anupama. So we're in for quite a treat. The first question we have is from Dr. Vagdevi Munir. You can unmute yourself. Vagdevi, please.
Yeah, okay, sorry. I just want to say, what an amazing movie. Uma, I love your courage. When I saw you fall backwards the first time into the Indian waters with your equipment on, my heart just jumped, you know. I cannot imagine having the courage to do that kind of a dive and to actually witness this. It's heartbreaking. And I think also, Priya, it takes great courage and foresight to see the possible story here, the human story as well as the environmental story, and to make a movie about this. And I've been already saying this to Indie Meme. I'm like, this is the year of the woman on Indie Meme. Female producers, female main characters who are just so powerful, admirable. And the one question I wanted to ask, but you don't have to answer me here, is I would really love to have this movie. I don't know if it's available for personal purchase, because I think you have images in this movie that, you know, my children are not going to see, or my grandchildren are probably not going to see. So I don't know if that's a possibility, but I just want to say it's one of those classical, one of those movies that we should preserve, you know, for future. But thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for this. We'll definitely talk how it will be possible. I would be happy to share the film with you. Let's see how we can go about it, because we don't own the copyright for the film. But definitely having a copy is not an issue. Like I personally, especially with this particular film, I just share it with any people I feel that, okay, they will take care of the film. But how you can definitely be part of the project is, we are, as I said, we are not leaving Coral Woman just with the film. We really want to work on that coast and really want to work on that. So our impact plans are on. That's Anupama is our impact producer. So we will definitely see how we can collaborate and do something. That would be a happy. Anupama, you want to add something to that?
I actually don't, I don't want to take away from the conversation, but I think Priya and I met Priya at Good Pitch India. And that's where I was also sort of inculcated into this whole thing of what an impact producer does. And for me, it's always been important that one makes a film, but then it just ends there. It doesn't go beyond that. And it's so important when we make films on issues like the environment or anything that affects the social situation, that we are able to take it beyond the film. And so that's when we decided that, let's create some. Priya had actually already got some impact goals that she was very keen we are able to take beyond the film. So which is what we are now working towards, whether it is creating an educational toolkit or, making sure that somehow the message is communicated to the youth so that they can take the message forward and actually do active things to help the environment and the coastline. So that's where I come in, to see how we can take that forward.
Thank you, Anupama and Priya. Our next question comes from a very special person, Ananya, who's our board member. Ananya has been really working hard to make this happen. The Virtual Film Festival is partially because of her efforts. So Ananya, go ahead.
Thanks, Anya. Anya is too sweet to me, but it was so wonderful to see the film Priya and Uma. And one of the things that struck me was it has been so rare for me to see a documentary about nature and science telling the story of like the Indian subcontinent and told from an Indian point of view, and and being able to interact with the people who are interacting with the sea every day as part of their lives. So that really touched me. And one question I had for Uma was, what was the documentary that you saw that changed your life?
Yeah, that was by Dr. Pascal Chabanet. She is a coral researcher. She had come to the Maldives from the Reunion Islands, that's France, to showcase her documentary film for the World Earth Day in 2010. So I didn't know the name. I didn't know what scuba diving, though I have seen all that around, but I was looking out for a theme. And my friend Muriel, she said that you have to come and watch it, you will like it. So somebody forced me to watch a documentary. Because she might get angry. I didn't want to upset her, so I went for the documentary screening, and that is how. And even I showed Priya too her message, Dr. Pascal Chabonet's message, as to she was wishing me well, and she was so happy that her film was inspired, and which she never expected, and which has brought us to where we are now. So I don't know the name of the documentary also, but it was about coral reefs. I like the suit she was wearing.
And now your documentary will do the same for someone else. If someone else is being forced to come to this screening.
Priya is very particular that she takes it to children. So she has shown it to many kids in Delhi and Mumbai. And she has got the cards from many children. After the film, they've written so much. So it has really made an impact with kids so far as from what she has shown to children.
I'm sure it's
Thank you.
I'm sure it's already made an impact. So our next question is also coming from an Indie Meme board member, Meghna. Meghna, you're on. Meghna.
Sorry, I had to figure out where to unmute. So my question is more on, I think what I understood of the movie and what we're all trying to achieve here is create more awareness on why the coral reefs are dying and how do we revive it, right? So most of that is stemming from the pollution. Now, pollution could be due to various reasons. We saw the industries that are impacting negatively and all of that. So I really appreciated that there's this whole aspect of trying to recreate the corals and give them more life. But what is the government really doing to fight the core or the crux of the problem, which is pollution?
I had attended a few climate change meetings in India. And so I saw that, okay, they are addressing and they are accepting the fact that this is happening, and they do acknowledge that another bleaching might result in more loss. So I was actually very, very concerned when I heard, when I read like articles in March telling Great Barrier Reef is witnessing the third global bleaching. So I in fact called up researchers in India to know like what is happening in Tamil Nadu, what is happening there. So they are like, now we are not doing anything because we can't because of the lockdown. So, but when I watch what is happening in Great Barrier Reef, there the work was still on even during these days. So they are actually keeping a track of what is happening right now. But researchers in India are like still waiting. I'm also still waiting to hear from them what is happening to that. I'm not denying they are not doing anything. Coral restoration work is on even in the Gulf of Mannar coast. I met like a bunch of researchers who are doing it. But in a research institute, there will be like 10 researchers. Out of those, 5 researchers will be doing coral rehabilitation. And they won't be doing coral rehabilitation every day. You know, that happens once in a year, or, you know, a week or 10 days in a year. And that is not enough. So that's why I felt that, you know, there should be more collaborations and more ways in which we do it. And coral rehabilitation is one way of restoring the corals. There are other ways we should do it. And if they are doing it, what can we do? We should try to reduce the speed in which this warming is happening. And I don't think the responsibility is just about, we can always complain about the industries and say that, oh, they should stop or they should move or whatever. It's very easy for any one of us to say that. But there is a lot we can do. Like, for example, Uma can share what she is doing at her place. She's not even living in the coast. She's living in the hills. Uma, you want to tell what you are doing?
Yeah, I'm painting on a daily basis on coral reefs.
Your solar panel and water?
Yes, I'm painting every day on coral reefs. Every day I have a painting to be done. And thanks for reminding me. Yes, we are collecting rainwater in a place, and the roof is solar, and we do the garbage is done very well because we segregate the garbage. I think in the US it's done already, it's being done, but only now we have started. So all the waste, the wet garbage goes to the compost. So that's from the kitchen, and the plastic we separate it, but not many homes are doing it. And rainwater is the one which I would like to speak to everyone, because all of us have roofs. When there is a rain, all the pesticides and the fertilizers and everything, chemicals which is used on the land, gushes inside the ocean and they kill all the corals. It's a very simple thing. So when every house is collecting rainwater, so the amount of water going into the ocean with the chemicals is stopped. At the same time, we can use rainwater for gardening or purpose, which after filtering we can use it. It is a potable water, but I don't know whether it is applicable in the country you live. But in India, I think it can be. There are certain filters which we can use for potable, for cooking and other purposes. So saving rainwater is the one which I am doing from my part. The garbage, that is also for the corals, and solar. These things I'm doing, and I'm also painting coral reefs.
So see, the change can happen even from the hills. So I think that's the message.
Thank you, Priya and Uma. We have 5 more questions and we don't have enough time, so I'm going to rush through these questions. So next question is coming from Carl Webb. Can you unmute yourself, Carl?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, I was wondering if you thought about having more inclusion of the protests, such as maybe interviewing some of the people that participated in the protest. I was wondering how many, why they were protesting, and was it because of the sea or the rivers or the work, the land? And also, I was wondering if you had any, was there any film footage of them actually mining the coral in the sea?
So mining happened till 1995, so 90s. So it's now not it's now banned because you will be sent to prison in India if you mine anymore. But that happened very late. By then, already a large portion of corals have been mined. You know, if you go to that coast, all the old buildings, churches, godowns, everything is made of corals. You can still see them. So a lot of mining had already happened by the time we realized, oh, this is not supposed to be happening. So mining is officially not happening anywhere in that coast. When it came to the protest, to be honest, even when I was researching, even when I went to that coast, I didn't know the seriousness of that issue. I did read in a small news clips that, okay, some protest is happening. So, but I was thinking, okay, such protests keep happening in India. So I didn't have that seriousness. Okay, it's this huge. But when I reached that course and when I started shooting, I couldn't ignore it. It was everywhere. There were people wearing T-shirts telling ban Sterlite, etc., etc. And this that sequence where you saw that women came to us and talked about the cancer, etc. It was a very documentary moment for me. I didn't plan it. Our intention was to cover the sewage, and Uma was walking through that near that canal, and our aim was to reach the sea, follow it to the sea. But this was a very documentary moment, and like we actually shot the film a week before the 100th day of the protest. Until then, the mainstream media was not covering it properly. It was just making a small headline in your third page or something like that. But on the 100th day, we came back. We had this documentation of this protest, and we made a relationship with these people. And as soon as we came back and we saw on TV, there was this 100th day, and then there was this firing, and these many people were shot dead. So that created a huge impact on us also, because we met them and they started sending me these videos of all the archival material you saw in the film is actually what they shared with me, because they had met me and they felt I will do something. So for me, it was very complicated. My film was not about this protest. If I was making a film, it would be a very different film. But as a filmmaker, I couldn't ignore, because it happened in front of me and I was witnessing it. And I felt that it should be a part of it. But I was trying to make a balance, because if I go into the protest, it will be a very different film. It was not the film. It wouldn't be Coral Woman. It won't be the film which I want to make in this. So I try to balance it out. So that's how it. That's why you felt that I could have made a bigger sequence. I had interviews, and I did know that there were filmmakers who went back to that coast to make a film on detailed on this. But it became very tough because after the protest, it became a very big national headline, and there were a lot of media coverage. Then to pick your camera in that coast right now is very tough, because I went back to the coast many times. I had once I got a phone call from a filmmaker in Chennai, and he called me up and he said, how did you make Coral Woman in that coast? Because he was shooting in that coast and he was picked up by the police and he had to erase all the footage which was shot. So he called me up to know, like, how did you shoot in that coast? So things have become very tough. Even the activist you saw in the film who was speaking about the thermal plants, his phone was tapped throughout. So even to get an interview from him was so tough. So I seek the help of the locals. They said, you don't call him. We will arrange the meeting with you, and you just go and do it and come back. So I wanted to go and take some shots of the this controversial industry. They said, if you go there, your camera will be snatched, your camera will be destroyed, your footage will be destroyed. Even it's threatening for my team. So I had to stop myself and not to go there. And, I didn't want to put that risk of, Uma or any of my crew members into it. So I made a balance of both. Yeah, I hope I answered you.
Thank you, Priya and Carl. The next question is coming from Sean Sriram.
Namaskaram. I really enjoyed the movie. Having spent a majority of my childhood in Tamil Nadu, this is very personal to me. Also, I did not know there were coral reefs in Tamil Nadu, so this is learning experience for me. So I'm ashamed, but at least I learned something at this age. So my question is, any thoughts on how ecology and economics can coexist? On one side, we have this beautiful coral reefs, everyone can enjoy, it's delicate, it's beautiful, it needs to be preserved. And on the other side, we have this growing developing country like India who needs all these power plants and chemicals. So any thoughts of how both of them can coexist?
I think the answer is sustainable development. I remember I recently saw a film about how electricity is produced in India. So like we switched from coal to, we have coal, which is again creating. And the film actually ends with thermal as the answer, because it is not producing any pollution, and we are actually using an energy which is out there, and we are actually utilizing it, and it's not producing any pollution, and it is something which can be practically done. And there are examples. We have airports which are 100% running thermal. We have schools which are running in that particular film itself, there was a school which is in India. They are producing their own electricity, and sometimes they supply back to the electricity board because they produce excess. So they do that kind of barter. And so there are lived examples, there are successful examples of how we can even produce, and we just need supports in that. We should encourage that now. Even when I'm reading they are for creating dams, they are actually asking villagers to vacate, and forests will be threatened. I'm like, why are we spending money on building another dam? We should go towards more thermal energy. So things are out there, successful models are out there. I think we need more voices to be raised so that government do it, because these are major changes. Like Uma spoke about small changes we can do at our individual capacity, but we definitely need people to join hands and make a major change in that way.
Thank you.
Thank you, Priya and Sean. We have a lot more questions and probably not enough time to answer everyone. We have a question from Donna Hoffman. We have a question from Piyush and Gidala. So probably we'll take a couple of questions, and depending on the time, we'll call it. So Donna, go ahead, please.
I think my question was close enough to what Sean's question that was just answered. So I won't ask my question, but I would like for a point of clarification from Priya. When you were talking about thermal energy, were you talking about geothermal, which is the getting the...
I was talking about solar, sorry. That was a wrong word I used.
Oh, okay, okay, yes, okay, great.
Sorry, thank you for clarifying that. I was talking about solar.
Thank you. I just wanted to greet Uma and say to the Coral Woman that I really relate to you, because I also plant things all around my house, and I just really loved seeing this film. It's a very beautiful film, and the festival overall has just got such high quality.
Thank you. The next question is from Piyush. Piyush, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Anamon. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, so Priya, the question I had is something that Anu touched on as well, which is, the power of storytelling comes with the responsibility to take it forward, especially on social issues. Maybe a little bit of a leading question, but in this journey, what's the next step for you?
I think Anubama can answer this. She is the captain for our impact.
So we are basically trying to do whatever we can. We've realized that just like I think one of you said here that you weren't even aware, I think it was Sean, that corals exist in that coastline. It's actually a lot of people who've seen the film have come up with that we didn't even know on this particular coastline corals existed. And then of course the fact that, it's all under threat. So what we want to do is really try and make sure that this is communicated to children, because once the awareness sets in, that's where change can happen. And we've seen, I think Priya had attended this entire, where there were kids who were shown the film and their reaction was sort of recorded. And all of them wanted to know what they could do. And that's where really change can happen. So what we are setting up a website. We have actually a lot of plans that have been laid out. And we're sort of, the first thing that we're doing is making an educational toolkit, a book, and the website, which once we launch, then we can start sort of collecting funds to roll out our other plans, which are slightly more towards coral rehabilitation and plans that will help not only bring in policy changes, but also sort of garner support from different aspects of social institutions. So that's really where we want to go with this.
Thank you, Anupama.
We'd be happy to share our impact plans in detail with those who are interested, who can connect with us. We are very ambitious because we believe in this art form, and we really think that we can do a lot using the power of art. So let it be an installation. We are planning for creating awareness through that. So even somebody, I just saw a chat asking, can someone buy Uma's painting? So that is also part of our impact plan. Uma's paintings are available for purchase, and we had pledged with Uma's permission that 50% of that amount will go back to corals for coral restoration. So there are few plans we have already worked out. We'll be happy to share with anybody who is willing to join hands.
All right,
Thank you. Thank you, Piyush. And the next question comes from Geeta, and we will close the Q&A after this. There was one more question. I think it got answered. The question is about if the paintings are available for sale, and I think Priya just answered that. Go ahead, Geeta.
So I'm going to modify what I was going to ask, because part of it was the impact question, and I think we'd love to talk to you about that further, because there are other organizations in India who are doing reef restoration work, particularly off the coast of Maharashtra, off the coast of Gujarat, which also have coral reefs, by the way, for all of you who don't know that. There are about 5 different marine parks around India. But I really wanted to go back to what Uma said, the power of one, right? I mean, you've had so much impact just with whatever you're doing, whatever is within your reach to do, right? And I think walking away with that idea, I mean, I just want to give you one similar story. I was in Indonesia, and over there, I don't know whether people know the Coral Triangle is a small area between Indonesia and Borneo, and that area, which has about 70% of the world's coral species. There they started a program. It started with one fisherman, a fisherman who was in prison and, came out of prison, saw the errors of his ways, and started with reef restoration work, started educating other fishermen, has now started taking his program all the way around that Coral Triangle, and has grown organically, fisherman to fisherman, where each fisherman is actually replanting coral. And, when you see something like that, when you see your story, rather than ask the question, it's just the appeal that each one of us can have the impact well beyond what sometimes we think we can. And so thank you for kind of showcasing that as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, Priya. You were saying.
Yeah, Gulf of Kutch is where you can find corals in mainland India. The two major is definitely on mainland India is Gulf of Mannar and Kutch. But the case with marine parks in India is the fishermen are not even allowed to fish in this area. So I'm not talking about trawlers or anything. Definitely they should not be fishing in marine parks. But even traditional fishermen are not allowed, and they have a relationship with the corals, and they know the importance now. But if this model is applied in India, that would be wonderful, because they actually know where the corals are. Even when I went back to that coast to shoot a film on seagrass or anything like that, even researchers seek the help of locals to understand where actually they are. So like that model is something wonderful which should be applied even in this coast. But right now, even if they go to the island, it's not permitted. You know, these 21 islands in Gulf of Mannar, where once they had temples, once they had gone to these islands, and you know they used to take rest during when there is any kind of wind or anything. But since now it's a marine national park, all these are not permitted. So there is a lot of pain or anger towards the government why they are not letting them do it. So if like government is trying to do it because they want to protect it, but if an awareness and information and joining hands, okay, let's not just me do the coral restoration, let me use your resource. You are better divers. We met like the women divers you met, they were amazing. They don't have any snorkel, they don't have any flippers, but the time they can spend underwater is amazing. So these are human resources we have, which should be used and which should be collaborated, and yeah, we can do wonders even in this coast.
Thank you, Priya. Thank you. Before Supriya, you take over, I just wanted to announce that if any of you want to be in purchase Uma's paintings or connect with Anupama, just send us an email at info@indiememe.org and we will connect. We'll make the connection. Go ahead, Supriya.
Thank you, Ani. Thank you so much, Priya, Uma, and Anu. I cannot tell you, when I see three of you women together, I'm just getting this idea of, the teen Devyang, like they say in Hindi, the three goddesses. It truly, you guys are the force behind this brilliant, absolutely relatable and very touching movie, I would say. So thank you so much for making that. And Uma, I will say that in your Tamil language, right? Little bit that I know. Mikka Nandri, right? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I want to say to Uma, before I share a little story, is that Uma, thank you, first of all, for being the crazy woman. I echo what Geeta just shared, because I really think it's the crazy ones who will change the world. So thank you so much for being crazy, and I really want you guys to know that you guys, sometimes we look at leaders, we look at the pioneers, we look at the people leading in the forefront, and I can imagine the pressure that you guys have. What are you guys going to do? I just want to put it out there that truly there is an army behind you guys. I mean, and I speak for myself. I'm totally inspired. I feel deeply for things like this. And many times, I'm sitting here in Austin, I'm a mom with 2 kids, at home, thinking, what can I do, right? But we are there. And I really think the change that we all dream to bring about in the world today will take all of us. It's a collective action. So we are there. And I know, even the birth of Indie Meme was from this, crazy idea, crazy women going for it. So you have a lot of support. I just want you guys to know that. And thank you. And I really want to touch upon this story because it's something that's happening right now in my life and what happened downstairs. So I'm sitting with my 17 and 10-year-old, and I keep speaking to them about this concept of interbeingness or interconnectedness, and that whatever actions and choices that we make, however small they might seem, have an impact somewhere else, thousands of miles away in some way. Doesn't matter how small it is. So it's really important. And I keep speaking to my daughters, about that. And of course, right, I can see that they're young kids. It's just a theory or a concept in their heads. We go to the grocery store, we look at the ingredient list, and I cannot tell you the number of times we've picked up ingredients, where we look at it, it says it's all natural. And we've often read the ingredient, that the carginin that you had in the movie, and that comes up. And we really don't know, right? And we think it's natural. And today, when we watched the movie, and I could see on my daughter's face, she's like, Mom, that's the same thing that's on the bottle. It's there in so many products. And now they sensed what the impact is. When the demand is so high, you are growing something artificially, and then you're setting off the balance in the ecosystem. And that's the price we pay. So I think it's, I mean, these stories, I think that's why we do this, because, these stories truly make it more transparent for us. And I'm so happy to hear that you guys are taking this to the kids, because if they don't see the whole picture, they're not going to be able to make the right decisions. And so really, thank you so much for making this film, and I hope it goes really far, and we're happy to play our role in that. Yeah, and with that, I just wanted to say thank you. I'm going to go down. I haven't finished the ending. I really want to go back and watch that. And thank you so much, Aneemone, for moderating. And thank you, everyone, for being here. And yes, please, we have our Shorts program 2 coming up at 9 p.m. So take a short break, come back. 2 quick things I want to remind you about is the Audience Choice Award. This is what it is. Your voice matters, your opinions matter to us. Indie Meme is our community. So please go ahead and vote. Send in notes, for the filmmakers, for us, and what you would like to see, so that we can really come together to create change that we really hope to. And also, last but not least, we have taken quite a few photos, screenshots here of the Q&A. And if you have any objection, please go ahead and email us at info@indiememe.org, and we'll make sure your picture doesn't go online. And yes, we will see you back here at 9 p.m. Take a short break and enjoy your time. Thank you again, ladies, for joining all the way from India. Much love.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everybody, for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We will be closing this meeting soon, and the next presentation will start exactly at 9 o'clock in about 17 minutes. Please remember to log back for our Shorts program. Thank you.
This is the hardest part about finishing these online screenings, right? When you can't really meet people and say thank you and bye-bye in person. This is like so hard.
Everyone can wave and say goodbye. I see more people leaving now, so we'll wait for a couple of minutes, and I don't want to be rude. So. All right, I think most people have left. I will be closing this meeting in 30 seconds. So see you everyone back at 9 o'clock. Bye.